Dear friends, glad to see you all on Feigin Live, Friday, 22nd of April, 10 p.m., 6 minutes past 10. Sorry about a little delay here. We had a circumstance that pushed us back. Our new live cast with Alexey Arestovych. Glad to see you, Alexey. Likewise. About 200,000 people watching us live, 22,000 left their likes. I know how some people are joking about that when I say, but please subscribe and leave your like. It is important because YouTube algorithms push this data to more people if you leave your like. So, Alexey, did the situation change in the last 24 hours? It did a little bit. What happened? Russian troops succeeded in moving a little bit on Zaporozhye, maybe a couple miles, and a little bit in Izum area. I will not say exactly where, but there is a question if they moved because they overtook and were fighting successful, or because our troops moved a little bit and led them into sort of a trap. So this is a minor result for day 5 or 6 of the operation. Overall, their tactical effort, even any minor tactical success, not even talking about operative success. Among the good news, we blasted the forward command post of the army level in Kherson. This is tougher and bigger than Chernobyevka. Very well hit. There were about 50 top-level officers. 150? No, 50. 50 higher-level command officers. And their destiny is unknown, but very likely very sad. So, heads of the command, heads of the army, and their staffers. All right. Any new villages or towns taken by Russians in the areas that you mentioned? Russians took Lazovoye in Kharkov region, not Lazovaya, the big train station, but Lazovoye, that's a small village. And they also took one little village on Gulyapole direction. However, this all could be a tactical arrangement for them to do that. They could have taken a few more villages and then found themselves in semi-encirclement. So, and also no forward movement that can be gauged as success for this operation. That's how civilians think. From the military standpoint, it doesn't matter if you retreating or advancing. The main military task is to destroy more enemies, so it doesn't matter that much how you're achieving it. During the last 24 hours, we shot 3 helicopters, 3 planes, and 6 cruise missiles. That is another good result. And destruction of the command post of the army level is a huge success. We actually raised our glasses today for the farewell of that command that was there. So, another question is about the meeting of Putin and his Minister of Defense, Shoigu. Had this meeting really happened? Was it a hologram? And is it their decision that they announced about Mariupol, that they're not storming it and they're really pulling out some of the troops? to support different direction, or it's all lies and everything is continuing just worse. They did withdraw some troops from Mariupol, and they threw towards Zaporozhye. But however much they withdraw from Mariupol, it is still very deep operationally in the back of the enemy. You can withdraw most of the troops, and the city itself will be so deep in the enemy territory that we really would not be able to do much about it. So they left some army there to continue blocking the city, and it actually is fighting regardless of Putin's statement, so yeah, it is a lie. Our troops are in a very tricky situation there. For the most part, it is difficult because of the large amount of civilians and also large amounts of wounded. But because of the nuances of that terrain, they're still holding it. And among these troops, some of them are in very low spirits and they're tired. Others still maintain high spirit, high attitude, and they're still going out daily and fighting and destroying the enemy in the ruins of the city. That's a difficult situation indeed. About 300,000 people watching us, almost. Those who are joining, please do not forget to share and like. If you're watching that in English, please do the same for the Privateer Station channel. Okay, next question is about the 9th of May parade perspective. Which result, which scenario would be optimistic for Moscow? We've heard today that the head of Lugansk region announced that 80% of that region is controlled by Russian troops. How much progress is possible there? Do you think they can push towards the administrative borders of these regions? Or do you think what will he be selling otherwise for the 9th of May? Frankly, 80% of Lugansk region were taken about 2-3 weeks ago, and nothing changed ever since. All the efforts are still around Popasna, they're not advancing there. We're not letting them move anywhere on the front. So they can be taking the remaining 20% of Lugansk region for another 4 weeks without much success. Another question is that, yes, they concentrated some effort and they're trying and pushing. At least that's what it looks like if you follow the arrows on the map. But I'm still not changing my opinion that they're sabotaging their own advancements, and it's being given out to public as the military cautious attitude. How can I explain that to you, what they're doing? Because they're saying they're very active there. Imagine you need to make 3 deliveries in the city, and you're driving and being very active and driving all around the city, but with every address, you're very cautious. First of all, you're not really approaching them. Second, when you do, you are very cautious. You jump at every sound, and you retreat if you see something. So every point where there is some fight with our troops, they always withdraw. They never do heavy fighting. They withdraw, and then they try to send aviation or maybe direct some of their artillery fire. And I already said that they're using DNR and LNR, those pseudo-republic troops, and some of them are fighting okay, especially the career ones who've been fighting there for the last 8 years. They have experience and they're trying. They're actually fighting pretty well. Russian troops are very cautious. DNR and LNR are the ones who will be trying to advance. Russian troops will make a couple steps, get shot at, and leave. I can say they've taken Izum. almost 2 weeks of fighting, then pause, then 12 more days of advancing or attempts to, then pause, 12 more days on the south, then pause, then another attempt to move forward on Gulaipole and on Zaporozhye, then another pause. That whole story about taking us and surrounding our troops, it lasts for over a month. And their success on that territory for that amount of troops and the tasks they have set in front of them, they're minuscule. So for the 9th of May, they probably will achieve nothing. They might take 3 more villages that we abandon and leave for them to avoid being hit by artillery, but that will be most of their tactical success. Although it's war, you never know, maybe one of our troops, one of our commanders will make a mistake and somebody on their side will exploit it. It is hard to prognosticate with 100% accuracy, but systemically there is no way for them win. They can get a little bit of tactical success, capture a couple villages, but their statement of goals and plans of reaching the administrative borders of Lugansk and Donetsk regions do not sound to me as a truthful concept. Okay. Another question. Situation with weapons. New systems coming to the front, new artillery. I can quote Victoria Nuland, who said today and repeated twice that we are even getting reactive systems of reactive fire. We're getting about 90 howitzers of M777 type. Very good quality howitzers, good artillery, and 90 is a lot. Dutch are giving us some. French are saying they'll give us their Caesars on a wheelbase, very accurate, nice equipment. French, I need to repeat that, French. And I don't remember who else somebody else is giving. So in total, we may gather 3 to 4 artillery brigades. And that's a good story, because wherever one of these brigades joins the fight, nobody's advancing on that front. And also our aviation or special aviation and other intel is helping to investigate targets, and to support that is the destruction of the army command post. There are a lot of steps in that area, and regardless of how well you try to hide, we'll still find you. So whenever that artillery joins the front, and that and the partisan and our troops in the front, all that eventually will lead us to completely halting any advancements of Russian troops and breaking them apart and then pushing them, kicking them out. Do you think we'll see any results by the 9th of May from the use of these weapons? It is hard to tell because it's barely 2 weeks till the 9th of May, so some of the equipment will be here, but will it be possible for it to change the situation on the operative level? I sincerely doubt that. It takes time. But in general, we're maintaining the picture that erodes the chances of Russian group of troops to achieve any goals on the front. But if things come here sooner, it may be much harder for them at that time. As if we're playing chess, all of a sudden, if instead of 2 towers, we've gotten 5, and would continue playing with 5 towers. And they're playing blackjack with us. Well, they're playing a very confusing game, what I can say. 15 minutes we're live. It's time for us to bring up the 6th set of sanctions that is being worked and prepared. I understand that if the sanctions continue, there'll be new banks thrown into the SWIFT, blockade, and the question about embargo for oil is being discussed on the 6th as well. It's not just being discussed, it's already concluded and solved. It's the matter of signing and accepting this package. This coming week should be very rich in events for us. So Yermak is taking part in that. Yermak is doing a lot of things there, and he's got a lot of responsibilities, and Sanctions is one of them, yes. He created that group, he created that focus, and the group of people who are helping to set the sanctions right. Who are helping to direct the sanctions towards certain sectors, trying to find more data where it's more painful for Putin's regime. And thank you, Mark, you also helped with that. Oh yeah, I gave him some info. So there are more people like you helping, and it's very successful. This is his main work. He was being told to be a spy and working for somebody else, but hey, that's actually what he is doing. He's working on sanctions. Here's another side. What else kicks next week? Lend-Lease. America is putting another vote for more support, and then these 90 howitzers will be a much smaller package than what else can follow. And the voting for the 6th set of sanctions is also due. We'll see, maybe it'll happen this week. They're finishing with the last pieces. And embargo on oil will be in this one. By the early next year, embargo on gas is also in place. So if that happens, that'll be a much harder hit. And, there are different groups working that. There are cynics who are redrafting, redividing the world markets and are trying to get rich and all that. And then there are romantics who are trying to just stop the evil plans of a crazy Kremlin dictator. So easy to accept, it likely will pass without issues. It's much easier to say no to oil, but gas is a little harder to say no to from Russia, and it'll take more logistic restructuring. So 6th, in the meantime, is aiming at not supporting Russian oil and then also causing trouble to the Russian military complex in terms of supplies, logistical chains, and everything. Let's go back to Kherson. A lot of questions about that. People are saying they're preparing for that fake referendum. Is there any way to prevent it from happening? What do you mean prevent? We have partisans in that area. They're working, but they have very specific tasks directed at destruction of the enemy. In many ways, but canceling the referendums or sabotaging them, it's not their focal point. And nobody will really recognize such a referendum. This is essentially a political escalation on the Russian side because it basically is annexation and political escalation that the West will be responding to. And the West is our major ally. They finally stopping to be afraid of Russia, and they're starting to threaten it. And even Victoria Nuland mentioned the other day that if Putin uses or considers using nuclear weapons on the territory of Ukraine, he will be facing absolutely catastrophic circumstances for himself. So what is absolutely catastrophic? Could be an answer with a tactical nuke. Do you think sanctions could be absolutely catastrophic, or sanctions are just catastrophic? Sanctions, I think, can be catastrophic too, but I think absolutely catastrophic should mean something flying into their territory. So you think we can suspect they may just kill Putin? I don't know. You should probably ask Victoria Nuland. What did she mean when she formulated it this way? We're just formulating here, so absolutely catastrophic. Maybe here is Putin, here is no Putin. But it's hard to tell here. They're somewhat insane with some steps they make. So reminds of an old joke that with the previous leader we were standing on the edge of the cliff with the new management who made a brave step forward. All right, we are being watched by 370-something thousand people. Those who are joining us for the first time, in case you don't know, if you're watching our show, you actually have an interactive opportunity to share it and affect the world with that data. All right. In your opinion, what is the likelihood of a counterattack? This is the question I'm being asked most often in the chat. And I suspect many of them are asking it because they do hope to change situation in Mariupol. They're basically looking for ways to help those who are there in occupation and surrounded by enemy. If we fantasize a little bit, we all hope that there'll be a way to free Mariupol. Besides those who just hope, we also work on this matter, and we don't need dead heroes. We would love our heroes to be alive. And also those who are not dead already would love to have them buried with proper military honors and not leave them in the hands of the enemy. And we're doing everything to get the people out. But there are real laws of physics involved, and I'm sure counterattack will be 101%, but I cannot forecast when will it happen and how many troops and which direction will be happening. I'm not commanding the troops, I'm an advisor, so I advise what can happen. I'm turning to our viewers. I'm advising on matters, but I'm not moving troops on the map. It is the Minister of Defense or head of the military command who is making decisions. And perhaps he's preventing 4 more new Mariupols right now, and also thinking how to help this one. And both him and the president are thinking about us and ways to alleviate the situation. We do not need dead heroes, we need them alive. We need the civilians and the military, and we're working on that. We're doing what we can. Traditional question towards the end, about 25 minutes live. Situation with refugees. The ones who are going to the west, and the ones, as we know, were being taken over to Russia from Mariupol and other occupied territories to have an idea about how many people are we talking about. We have a rather accurate number from Denisova. So it's over 500,000 people, and 160,000 of them are kids. So it's like the horde who are coming and taking our people and changing our demographic situation. What about the West? How many people fled there? About 11.5 million people. Somebody quoted a number a couple of weeks ago. Out of 10 Ukrainian kids, 6 are moved, and 4 more have been separated, meaning that separated from their parents, from mother or father or both of them. There are, those cases are fewer, but still, it's heartbreaking. Another question about that trust fund. The trust fund that Americans are planning to form, there are negotiations underway, and I understand that this will be formed with the means that were frozen, means of Russian Federation, money of Russian oligarchs and government. How close do you think, if you know, this fund, this trust, is to being accomplished so that all the lend-lease and other support can be funded from that fund? I'm sure they'll set it up. They'll set this up for Russia and basically grab them by the balls and tear them out. And yeah, it'll be painful for Russia. And there are already estimates that over 300 billion is Russian arrested money. Another 300 billion of the fund is the support guaranteed by the countries, or at least pledged by the countries. So overall, we're looking at about $600 billion of support. And, you know, they promised, so I believe the countries will deliver what they promised. Let's trust them and give them a chance to shine. See, that's the thing. I'm addressing that in terms of Russia. We're telling them that every time we talk, the war is paid from your pocket. And they're screaming, they're still screaming that they're winning or they're trying to. We still keep explaining them that it is their money that you paid as taxes, and you'll be paying for recovery. Actually, the war will be paid 4 times. They paid to create Russian army. They are paying to get this army destroyed. So I'm explaining to them, idiots, this money is being taken from you as taxpayers. Twice. No, this war actually, they'll pay for this war 4 times. They paid for the Russian army to be built. Now they're paying for this army to be destroyed. They will also pay all the compensations and retributions to recover Ukraine. And the 4th time, they will pay with the future money they could have earned with that money that they've wasted. So the fool is always paying 4 times. That should be the title of this show. The fool pays 4 times. You should name that show on your channel this way. I don't know if you can. I'm not drinking, and in spirit, I'm raising a glass. It's a military rule of honor to raise a glass for the enemy that you slain that day, to wish them farewell out there. All right, almost 400,000 people watching us. We'll meet tomorrow again. I hope you'll have good mic tomorrow. 10 p.m. If you'll have a bad one, they'll probably eat us alive again. It depends. I'm in different locations. I'm practically sleeping every day in a different place, so it may be hard to have a good mic, but anyway, thank you very much. Please subscribe. The link is in the description, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.